Hello, viewers of the internet. My name is Yves Guerra from Ubisoft. You are listening to the Gladiant Pixels podcast. But here at Ubisoft we have so many great games.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Digital Pixels podcast, or whatever the fuck it's called.
You always get it wrong.
Yeah, I know, I always get it wrong. I think we should change our name or something somewhere down the line, but it's October 12th, 2018. We're currently about 2 weeks away from the launch of Red Dead Redemption 2, and we're going to be talking about that on the podcast today, but before we do that, we're going to do the usual things, and by usual I mean what we've done for one podcast so far. So I guess we'll talk about games we've been playing recently, and then
Well, let's introduce first.
no, everyone knows who we are.
Okay, well, I'm Nick, and everyone knows who Shane is.
Yes,
so.
of course. Yeah, so we'll talk about games we've been playing recently, and since I went first last time, you can go first this time.
Alright, so as I mentioned 2 weeks ago on the first podcast, I've been playing Zombie U, and I've actually finished the game, and I'm very happy to have finished the game because I didn't enjoy my time very much in it. Just to give like a quick summary of a lot of the issues I had, the game felt like it dragged too much. It took me about 8.5 hours to beat it, but it felt like 20, which is never a good sign when you're playing a game.
No.
No. One of my biggest complaints, and I don't know if you'll sympathize with this or not, because I don't know how much Wii U you've played, but they wanted to give the Wii U gamepad a lot of functionality, and while that doesn't sound like a bad thing, they went a little overboard with it, and it gets to the point where you're constantly looking up and down at the screen, like, for every single thing you do. So if there's a body you try to loot, or anything you just try to loot in general, you have to hit the on-screen button command, and then it says look at the gamepad, and then that's where all the items are that you have to like move with the stylus to loot and everything. Mm-hmm. If you want to break doan a door or lockpick a door, they put all that on the gamepad. If you get on a mounted machine gun, it tells you to not look at the screen, and you have to aim with the Wii U gamepad. It's like it got to a point really early on where it just broke my immersion, first off. But second off, it started hurting my neck because I had to keep moving like every 5 minutes to do something, or even less, depending on what I was doing. So I didn't like that. I thought the graphics looked horrible for even a 2013 game, or 14. I'm a little hazy on when it actually came out.
It's probably 2013, because I think it was a launch title for the Wii U.
And I mean, like, as a launch title for the Wii U, you can kind of give it some leeway, but compared to what else came out with the Wii U, I don't think it's that great. I made a video about it. It'll be coming out at some point, probably towards the end of the month, but it's just no bueno. No bueno. Other than Zombie U, I played a bunch of random other things. I played a little bit of Enter the Gungeon still, a little bit of Trials. The other night I played some GTA Online with some friends, and that's always fun to just power around with a little bit. They added a new, or a remixed game mode where basically teams get into specific cars, and then there's like a shrinking arena, and you have to like knock each other out. It's called Sumo. So we played a little bit of that, and that was fun. Also played some Modern Warfare 2, like a couple matches of that on PC. Because the multiplayer, it's just as like you remembered. And they just kind of dropped it. It's standard fare for most Call of Duty games. But other than that, that's about all I've played this weekend, or this week, past couple weeks. So, we did also play some Heavy Rain. We played the first like hour and a half of Heavy Rain. And that was my first experience with it, and I'm probably going to keep playing it here soon, but I just haven't gone back to it yet.
Yeah, I had more fun with that game than I thought I was going to, because I played it years ago. And it is kind of fun if you're with like a friend, because you can just kind of make fun of the game the entire time. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, if I were playing alone, I don't know how much I'd really enjoy it, playing it nowadays. But it was fun. I don't think I'll buy another David Cage game though, unless someone like gifts it to me. But yeah, it was fun to go back to that because I haven't played that since like 2014 or something like that. In terms of games I've been playing, I've mainly been playing Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise for the past, I guess, 10 days, because it released October 2nd. So for those of you who don't know, and apparently a lot of Yakuza fans don't know this, Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise is a game developed by RGG Studios, which is the studio that develops the Yakuza titles. And it's pretty much like a Yakuza game with a Fist of the North Star theme over it, I guess. So that goes... that means, like, if you play the game, you're going to recognize a lot of things from Yakuza, like the sub-stories or a lot of the mini-games. For those of you who played Yakuza 0 or Kiwami 2, you'll recognize the Cabaret Club minigame, which needs to be taken out at this point. I don't want to see it again. There's nothing more that can be done with it. And they also have the, what is it? There's one other minigame they stole, I thought.
Mahjong?
No, they don't actually have Mahjong in this. Well, they have the casino, but the point is that if you play it as a Yakuza fan, there's a lot of things you're going to recognize. It has the main hub town. This time it's called Eden instead of Kamurocho. Which isn't quite as fun to explore because, you know, Kamurocho is like a realistic depiction of Tokyo's red light district, Kabukicho. So, first of all, it's like you're actually there, and there's neon lights everywhere and all these nooks and crannies. But Vista of the North Star's world is like post-apocalypse, Mad Max, desert. That's the aesthetic, so the town is kind of boring to look at unless you go at night, and then there's some neon lights and stuff. But anyway, the point is that it's a lot like a Yakuza game, except most of the things in the game are kind of mediocre compared to the real Yakuza games. But I think the place where the game really shines is the combat system, and that's the thing that I've really latched onto personally. And when I first started playing the game, I wasn't quite sure about the combat, because there was a lot of things that weren't unlocked at the beginning, and it takes a really long time to unlock that stuff. But once you start getting into it, the combat is really, really fun. And it's probably the most arcadey-like title in the series, because you can like knock people up into the air and just keep juggling them like Devil May Cry, which is something that you can't really do in the other Yakuza games. Not that the other Yakuza games have like really realistic combat. They have silly stuff in it too, but this game, they can really go all out and have like Kenshiro flipping through the air and kicking in midair and everything, just because it's part of the North Star universe. But anyway, the general combat flow, instead of just like punching your enemies until they run out of health or using heat actions on them like Yakuza, you kind of hit them until they get stunned. And the stun state is called Meridian Shock. So basically, once you fill a meter on each enemy, the circle prompt appears above their head, and at that point you have two choices. You can either do a perfect channel, which means you press circle and then you have to do a little timing thing where if you press circle at the right time, you'll just instantly kill them and their head will explode. Or you can also do I guess just a regular channel. And there's different variations on channels. I think there's 4 different ones. So you can put the enemies into different stun states. And those stun states lead to different, I guess, heat actions or special moves that Ken can do. So, for instance, I should mention that the stun states are like tied to how many times you punch the enemies before you put them into a channel. So if I punch them like 4 times and then do the stun state without doing the perfect channel, I can just like hold it and let it happen without doing the timing thing. Then after that, you can do the special move, which is like that, and then blow them up. But if you like smack them like twice and then do it, then he'll like bring them to their knees and then do like a karate chop on their head. And that took a while for me to understand, but once you understand how all that works, it's a lot of fun pulling off all the different moves and seeing how many different special moves you can get in for every single battle. And one other thing you can do is you can kind of knock them into a stun state and then hold down circle to charge up the different states, and then you can smack them. and then put them into that state. But the point is that the combat is just really, really fun, and it's pretty unlike anything the series has ever done before, which is kind of a shame because they probably won't bring it back for the next couple Yakuza games. And I don't know if they're going to make a sequel to this either. I think it sold really well in Japan, but some of the Japanese fans were iffy on it because it didn't follow the storyline of the manga, which I preferred because I'd rather, like, if we get a video game adaptation of something, I'd kind of rather it have its own story rather than just regurgitating what we already know about if you're a fan. So I guess the Japanese fans didn't like that about it. They're the ones that mainly care about the story because that's a really important title for them. For me, I didn't mind. I liked seeing something new. But the combat is definitely the main draw, I think. Where was I going with all this? Well, there's other interesting parts about it. Like, for the first time, RGG Studios did a sort of open world-esque aspect to it, where you can go into the desert in a buggy and cruise around and collect parts and travel to different places. And it kind of sucks, because it's just like a big desert, and like they made it really big, but there's like fucking nothing to do. So you can travel to like this remote part of the map, and you might think like, oh, there must be something cool there, and there's nothing there. Like, it's just another desert, and you can get different materials there or fight stronger enemies, but that's it. There's nothing to find there. There's not like a side quest or anything. And during, before I finished the game, I made sure to explore the entire map, and there's just like nothing there.
That's kind of disappointing.
It's kind of like a Ubisoft open world where there's like things to collect, but there's not much substance to it, so there's not really a reason to go out and do that. But I commend them for trying something new. That's what I always respected about that development studio, is that they always try something new every single Yakuza game, even if it doesn't always work. Which is why I want them to move away from the cabaret stuff, not just because I find it kind of boring, but also because it's more fun when they try something completely new and different with their new titles, which looks like that's what they're going to do for Judge Eyes, which is their newest title coming out in December in Japan. But yeah, North Star is really cool, but I don't think it's going to sell that well. I feel like they didn't advertise it all that much, and a lot of Yakuza fans, like I said in the beginning, a lot of Yakuza fans don't seem to know that it's a Yakuza game. So, because I saw a lot of people on Reddit like, why are people talking about this game on the subreddit? Like, this has nothing to do with the Yakuza series, but it's like, well, yes, it is a Yakuza game, and you should be playing it instead of diddling kids or something, or whatever, playing Spider-Man. But I think it's going to grow into a cult following. A lot of critics were like, this game's okay, but they just played it for the side quests and shit. If you play it, if you're a hardcore gamer like me, and you play it for the combat, I think you're going to really enjoy it. And you don't have to know Fist of the North Star either. If you don't know anything about that series, it doesn't really matter. It's obviously more fun if you know the characters and stuff, but if you don't, it's a standalone story. And yeah, you don't really need to know anything about it. So I recommend it to people, except I would say I might wait until it goes down in price, because even though I have like 30 hours of gameplay out of it right now, and I'll probably have more because I'm doing a second playthrough, I never had the feeling like this was a $60 title. It felt like they should have done the same thing they did with Kiwami 1, where it was like discounted. It was like a $30 title. I think this should have been like 40. I think 40 would have been fine. Even though, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, I guess. A lot of the mini games are really grindy, and they just kind of put them there just to expand the length of the game, I guess. So it kind of feels like you get gypped a little bit. So anyone who wants to buy it, I might just wait until it goes on sale. But for Yakuza fans, you'll like it. For Hokuto no Ken fans, or Fist of the North Star fans, you'll obviously really enjoy it too. It's a lot of fun. And I might actually buy the Dynasty Warriors titles that they made for that series. That might be a lot of fun. But anyway, that's enough about Fist of the North Star. That's mainly what I wanted to touch upon. So just a quick summary. Combat is really good. Give it some time if you're kind of skeptical about it. Everything else is a little grindy, but it's good. It's good. Wait until it's $30 and just buy that game. Okay? Do it. Besides that, I started playing Prince of Persia Forgotten Sands, which is technically the fourth in the Sands of Time trilogy, even though a lot of people like to pretend it's not. After playing like halfway through it, I don't know why that game gets so much hate, because I think it has the best level design in the entire series. by a pretty wide margin. But the problem with that game is that it has a lot of input lag compared to the original titles, and one of the most important things about Prince of Persia, whether that be the originals on the MS-DOS or whatever, or the modern reboot trilogy, is the smoothness of the animations and the feeling of the control. Well, maybe not the feeling of the control, because the original Prince of Persia feels really bad to play. There's like a shitload of input lag, but it's an old game, so we'll give it a pass. But yeah, Forgotten Sands just feels really janky, and a lot of the animations are a little weird looking compared to the original titles. But the level design is really good. If you can get past that, there's a lot of new abilities that they added. Probably, I think it was the biggest leap in abilities since the original Sands of Time. Because like in Warrior Within, they added like, if there's like a banister, like a banner, down the wall, you can like jump onto it and stick a knife into it and you'll like skate down it.
Yeah.
And in Two Thrones, there was like these little metal things on the wall where you could like run up the wall and then put a knife into it and hold onto it and then go this way and put another knife into it. Two Thrones also had another thing where like there'd be shutters on the walls, and once you got on the shutter, if you pressed A, he would like jump diagonally, and then you kind of had to do that. This one added a lot of new traversal mechanics. So in the original, you could do like wall jumps back and forth. I think everyone knows what a video game wall jump looks like.
Yeah.
But in this one, you can wall jump and then run up the wall a bit, and then wall jump again, and they use that a lot. You can freeze water and run across like waterfalls and climb on pillars of water coming out.
That's cool.
Which is really, yeah. It's really interesting because whenever you're going through the environment, sometimes you're on like a metal pole, and then you need to jump, and then freeze the water, and then jump on a few water poles, and then maybe there's a waterfall coming down in between your next jump. So what you have to do, like, you have to land on the water pole after the waterfall, so you have to jump through the waterfall and then freeze it, otherwise you just smack into it. And there's one move where you jump through the air, and if there's an enemy, you press B and you'll fly towards the enemy. So sometimes there's like birds in the air, and you kind of travel on the birds and stuff. There's, I think, a few other ones, but the point is that they added a lot of new things to the traversal, which I really respect them for. I just wish the game, I maybe just needed more development time to tighten up the controls a bit, and tone down the jank a little bit. But it is fun. If you can get past that, I think it's one of the best games in the series. And I also think it looks really nice, too. Like, you watch some old reviews, and they're like, oh, the game looks kind of ugly. It's like, no, that's not really. Not in my opinion. But the only thing that I dislike besides the controls is that they still can't seem to nail the charming tone of Sands of Time. And at this point, I don't think they'd ever nail it again. It's just, I don't know. That game just had something special. The writing was really good. And I think a big part of that was because the original creator was the writer on that game. Mm-hmm. I think after he stopped making video games, he became a screenwriter for Hollywood. So he came back and wrote that. And obviously that project must have been really personal for him because it's his series. And he helped bring it into the modern age. So, yeah, they try to recapture that feeling in the later games, but it doesn't really work. So the story, and the prince, it's whatever. I'm just here for the combat mainly. Or not the combat, the traversal. Before we stop talking about Forgotten Sands, I will mention the combat. A lot of people hold the Warrior Within combat system in high regard, for good reason. I think that game released in 2004, and there's a lot of different things you can do with that combat system. Like you can hop over enemies, or you can jump on the wall and then press B and launch yourself off the wall, or you can grab enemies and throw them at the other enemies, or you can throw them across the room. You basically have like two different move sets. If you pick up an alternate weapon, then you have two weapons, and you have like spinning attacks and shit, and you can throw weapons, and there's a lot of cool potential there. I never thought the combat system was like super amazing. Like I've heard some people be like, oh, this is as good as Devil May Cry or like Ninja Gaiden, and it really isn't. Especially because it's really janky. But I know a lot of people really liked it, so it's kind of a shame that Forgotten Sands basically turned it into like a Muso game where you basically just mash buttons until the combat's over. I wasn't that broken up about it because I just want more platforming. I wouldn't really care if they cut the combat out of those games, but Yeah, overall, I would really recommend Forgotten Sands from what I played. I think it's great. I don't know why it gets so much hate. It just feels like a hive mind thing. So if there's any Prince of Persia fans out there that avoided it because fans told you not to play it, just play it yourself because it's like a $10 game. I think it's a lot of fun. So just play it. Form your own opinions. And I think there was one other game I started playing. Actually, maybe it was the Prince of Persia game. I just replayed Two Thrones, and I finished it before I came over here. That one is probably my least favorite out of the 4 games I played. I just feel like the level design is kind of weak in that game, and the story is really weak, and the characters look really fucking ugly. It's not a bad game, but I like the other ones a lot more. I'm not going to go too far in depth because I think we talked about Prince of Persia enough. And I will just mention that I'm replaying Ninja Gaiden 2 again, but I've done that like 8 times at this point. So after talking about what we played for a good 20 minutes at this point, we're going to talk about some new Devil May Cry Hideaki Itsuno weapons that got announced for Devil May Cry 5. First one is Cerberus, which is technically not a new weapon because it was in Devil May Cry 3, but that is one of my favorite weapons in the series, and I've wanted to see it come back ever since that game. For those who don't know, it's basically like a 3-pronged nunchuck with like an ice theme to it because the boss is like a Cerberus. Well, obviously the name implies it's Cerberus, so it's a 3-headed dog covered in ice. But this time, there's actually 3 different forms to Cerberus. So you have the basic ice nunchuck form, but you also have like a fire bow staff form. So, you know what a bow staff is, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
it's just like a big stick that you can smack people with. So that's fire, and then I think there's a lightning form, but I don't know what the weapon is. I don't remember what it is, but I think it's like a chain thing. So it's like, ice, fire, and lightning, and there's different forms you can change it to.
That's pretty cool.
So it's technically like 2 different weapons, or just improving on the moveset of the original one. And that looks really, really awesome. I'm really happy they brought that back. If I get everything I want, I just want them to bring all the missing weapons back. So I want them to bring other Devil May Cry 3 weapons back, like Agni and Rudra, or Navan. That would be great, just to have all the weapons in one place for a game. But we'll see about that. Not much more to say about Cerberus other than it looks awesome, and I'm so happy that it came back. And I think the other cool weapon they announced is the Faust hat, or the Faust hat, whatever you want to call it. The Faust is an enemy from Devil May Cry 4, I think. It's the cloaked enemies. Remember the enemies that you have to like shoot their cloaks, and then they're like a little insect thing, and then you kill them?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, there's like 2 different variations. One is like a red... He has like a red head with a dark cloak, and the other one has like a silver head with like a cowboy hat with a dark cloak. And the Faust is the one with the cowboy hat. So this is actually a projectile weapon for Dante, and he can like... He wears a cowboy hat, and he has like a scarf made of like red orbs or something. And you basically like shoot red orbs, I guess, out of Dante's hands. Or you can like shoot them out of his hands, and you can bring like boulders of red orbs down on enemies, and you can toss the hat and put them on enemies, which I don't really know what that does, but there's all this weird stuff going on with that weapon.
Maybe it's like a pseudo mind control thing. Like,
yeah, I thought
maybe you don't like control them, but like you toss it and then they go off and fight their own teammates.
I thought it might be mind control, but I mean it might be mind control. I don't know. But I know the weapon the ammo is like red orbs, so I guess whenever you wear it, the more you hit an enemy, the more red orbs you'll get. But if you get hit, then they steal your red orbs or something like that. So it's like a risk-reward type weapon. They didn't go super in-depth with it yet, and it's not available to look at on their website yet. It was just kind of like a special thing they showed in a panel for a Tokyo Game Show or something. Or I think it was the Comic-Con they showed it at. So I don't have much more to say on that. I just think those weapons are great, and it's nice to finally see something new, because I feel like that's a lot more interesting than Nero's new stuff, because his are just kind of like, oh, you can blast enemies now, or you can like do the Kamehameha or surf on it, which is cool, but these weapons for Dante actually feel like weapons, not just like little gimmick things. And of course, we also have the motorcycle, which is awesome. But that was announced a while ago, so we're not going to talk about that. But I think that's it regarding Devil May Cry so far. I think that's mainly the big news for that game. So I will send it over to Nick, and we can talk about Fallout 69. Whatever the fuck.
Real quick, I mean, just with Devil May Cry, I mean, from the stuff that I saw in that Comic-Con panel, I mean, it looks fun. Mm-hmm. At this point, I don't think they could show me anything that wouldn't really make me excited to get it. I'm at the point where I don't really need to see anymore. I'll pick up the game. So
yeah, good.
So the other big sort of thing, Shane's obviously very excited for Devil May Cry, and I'm a big Fallout fan. And Bethesda brought a bunch of like media outlets and YouTubers and stuff out to West Virginia to get their hands on Fallout 76 for, I think it was like 3 hours. Everybody got to play it. And basically, for me, it served as a confirmation of a lot of things that I've been thinking about the game. For other people, they were like waiting to get certain things answered that I think are still kind of up in the air. But just to go over some stuff, basically one of the biggest things, obviously, is the multiplayer aspect. It's all the people running around, and from what basically they let you do whatever in the 3 hours. So if you wanted to group up with people, they made groups. To my knowledge, it was like 3 outlet style people together with a Bethesda staff member, and they would like go around and like kind of like lead them into certain situations and all that. Or you could just go off on your own and do whatever. So the first thing that's very noticeable with this build that they were playing is that the frame rate is pretty trash. From what everybody has said, that build is an old build of the game, and the frame rate should be fixed by the time the beta comes out later this month. But it's immediately noticeable, and the further people left from Vault 76, which is the starting area, the choppier and worse it got. So that's the first thing to notice, but that I was kind of expecting that, to be honest. The gameplay, from what everybody's talking about, it feels pretty like, the quote that stuck with me the most is that it feels like Borderlands but in Fallout, which is kind of how I was imagining the game was going to be all this time. Just being able to get with your friends, go through areas, fight enemies, and loot stuff. It's the Fallout loop, basically. So that was reaffirming to hear, I guess. The questing seems interesting. For those who don't know, I don't know how much people follow Fallout 76, but there's no actual NPCs in the game. They wanted it to be like if you came across a human player, that it was an actual real person. So a lot of the quests are given via, like, some of them just like pop up on your thing, like sort of event style ones where there'll be like a special enemy or something to go fight. They can be given by notes or computer terminals, or robots can give you quests. So I'm not going to write it off as bad, because I obviously haven't had my hands on it. And some of my favorite quests from Fallout 3, New Vegas 4 are given by robots, and they can do a lot of really cool things in that sort of sense. And they can do, I think what this game will do pretty well is a lot more environmental storytelling, because they kind of have to. They can't really rely on people being like, hey, I'm this crazy, wacky person. Like, let's go have a discussion about my backstory. So I think it's going to be a lot more environmental stuff, which is good, because from what we've seen of the world, the West Virginia, I think it's called Appalachia Wasteland or something like that. It looks really great. They obviously have done something to the graphics or the lighting to make it look better from even Fallout 4. So that's good to see. VATS, I know you pointed this out to me, and we also just had like a little discussion a couple days ago about it, but they can't slow down the game anymore, so VATS runs in real time and works more as a percentage-based auto-aim kind of system. So for people who are familiar with games like Titanfall with the auto pistol, or I think Overwatch, one of the characters has like an auto aim ability. Basically that sort of thing, but with the percentage system of the Fallout VATS. And this game, you level up with the different perk cards, and that feeds into the VATS. So like later on, I know they have different cards that, like when you first start, I think it's just a general full body thing that you aim on, but later on you can get upgrades that let you target the specific points of the body and all that. So it looks janky. That's what we were talking about. I don't know if that's just a result of it not being in slow motion anymore, or if they just haven't optimized it right, or if it's something with the build of the game, but it doesn't look that great. And from what I've heard from all the people that have played it, it doesn't feel right either. There's some weird, like, idiosyncrasies with it that it just doesn't feel right when you're using it. I've heard some people describe it more as a tool to find hidden enemies than to actually cause damage and everything. So there's that. And for the most part, it just, like I said at the front, it just kind of confirms a lot of what I thought about the game. I think people are mixed right now, and I think that's going to carry into the game when it launches, and it's going to carry into the review scores. I don't think the entire fan base is really going to latch on to Fallout 76. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a good amount of people that like it and a good amount of people that really don't like it and are going to be very vocal about how much they don't like it. But I'm still excited for the game. I still have it pre-ordered. I'm going to play it probably day one if I'm not busy with Red Dead. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited, but the game, it's definitely going to be a departure from what people are used to. I don't know if you have anything you want to say about Fallout.
It's kind of hard to comment on Fallout because I haven't really played a game since Fallout 3. So I just kind of think that Fallout 76 is like a stepping stone for them, kind of like a beta test for something more important in Bethesda's future. Maybe something like Starfield, I think. Maybe they plan on doing like some multiplayer component where you land on a different planet and then you see other people, kind of like what No Man's Sky promised.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly excited for the game, but yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be playing Red Dead, so we'll see. I'm interested to see what Nikolai's thoughts on the game are when it comes out, though.
For our last sort of section that we wanted to go over. For this last bit of the podcast that we wanted to go over, we wanted to do a holiday gaming kind of showcase breakdown sort of thing. Basically, a bunch of different outlets are doing this, so this is kind of where I got the idea from. But we would be going through a lot of the big titles that are coming out from this point up till like Christmas, whenever the holiday gaming season pretty much ends. Kind of want to stay out of next year, because that's next year. So basically, we'll just go down this list. I have Wikipedia pulled up with the dates for a bunch of the big games coming out. So we've already seen a couple of big releases like Forza Horizon 4, Fist of the North Star, and Mega Man 11, as well as what was it there? Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Those are some of the big games. But starting with today, that we're recording actually, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. We did our State of Call of Duty video earlier this year, and I can't speak to the reviews because it just came out today, but people seem excited after the Battle Royale beta. It seemed like it got a lot of good press around it. I watched some videos. It definitely looks polished, more so than a bunch of the other Battle Royales that are out, but no campaign, not really. I mean, they have the data that suggests no one plays it, so I guess that's the smartest decision to go forward. But I am not really interested in Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's Royale. Yeah, I'm not that excited for it either. Yeah, I don't give a shit.
All right.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion released like 10 years ago. It was okay. Pretty good. Actually, it was a good game. I don't want to play it again though.
So we have October 16th, Starlink Battle for Atlas. This is that game that they're shoving all the Star Fox stuff into for the Nintendo Switch version. I doubt it's on the PS4 and Xbox version, but I know it's a multi-platform game. The toy thing looks pretty dinky, I'm not gonna lie. I think that looks really lame. The first time that they showed it off, it seemed like it would add like 20 pounds to your controller because it just kind of pops on the top of it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not super impressed with that and will not be picking it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even... Yeah. I mean, this game looks better than Star Fox Zero, I think, but I'm not going to pick it up either. I forgot it existed, actually. Next is Warriors Orochi 4. I just wanted to comment on this because they took out a lot of the guest characters in this. I've never played any of the Warriors Orochi series, but that was stupid and disappointing. Which means there's no Ryu Hayabusa, no Ninja Gaiden because Koei doesn't like that series, I guess. This month is the 30th anniversary of Ninja Gaiden, and they haven't done shit yet. So, I'm hoping to see at least a tweet. If nothing else, if they were smart, they would have an HD collection ready. But I kind of doubt that's going to happen, unfortunately. Siberia 3 is being released on the Switch. I played the first one and actually kind of enjoyed it, but that was years ago. It's like a point-and-click adventure game. That's not that exciting. I just wanted to mention it. Dank Souls remastered on Switch. That's exciting, I guess.
Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah, I got into Soul Calibur with Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube. And I really, really love that game. I've always been a casual fan of the series, but I think 6 is going in the right direction, and it's had pretty much nothing but good press for the most part, except for Tira. I think one character is like day 1 DLC, and they said like, oh, that character wouldn't have made it in, we had to do a DLC because she wouldn't be finished or whatever, but then during the beta, she was completely done, and it's really cheesy. But besides that, the game looks pretty good, and they did kind of say like it's make or break for that franchise. They kind of said like if this Soul Calibur kind of fails, it'll probably be the last Soul game. And I didn't know there was such a disparity between like Tekken and Soul Calibur in terms of sales. I think Tekken has like 40 million sales total, and Soul Calibur only has 10 million. So I guess from their perspective, like they'd much rather just be making Tekken games if they can. So hopefully the game does well. So it's kind of a game made by, I guess, by fans for fans.
I haven't played a whole lot of Soul Calibur, so I can't really comment on it, other than I know they always get the guest characters that like highlight everything. I know this game they have Geralt from The Witcher. In 4, it was like Yoda and Darth Vader and everything like that. So they always have a fun time with the guest characters, but I've never been really one to play Soul Calibur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it is kind of doing what I wanted them to do. I mean, like I said, I'm a casual fan, but whenever I played Soul Calibur 4 or 5, there was one that like kind of got rid of Keelik and other classic characters, and I really didn't like that. And they replaced them with dumb characters that no one cares about. So for 6, they're just bringing everyone back. It's like I guess it's set between like 1 and 2 or something. I don't know jack shit about the story, I'm gonna be honest, but they're bringing pretty much all the classic characters back, which is really nice to see. Yeah, I just hope the game does really well. They had a beta last week, and I said I'm gonna check out that beta and get good at it in 2 days, and I completely forgot, and then I didn't download it, which happens every single time. I hate timed betas because I always forget about it, but oh well. Hopefully the game's good.
Just Dance 2019.
Whatever.
Yep, that's all we're going to devote to it.
I keep forgetting that they make those. I thought they stopped doing that. Hey, Paw Patrol On a Roll is coming out before Red Dead Redemption. That game was coming out the same day for a while, and then they changed it. That's one to keep your eye on. Paw Patrol On a Roll.
On the 26th, My Hero One's Justice and Red Dead Redemption 2. Kind of different audiences, but still kind of a ballsy move to release on the same day.
Yeah. whatever. Red Dead is all people care about this month.
Red Dead's all people care about. It's all they're going to be talking about. Arguably, it's all they're going to be talking about for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be the big one. It's one game where like pretty much everyone has said like, what did they say?
Everyone said
it's like everyone is like acting like, holy fuck, like you guys have to see this game for yourself. Like I played it for 4 or 5 hours and the game is just incredible. Like it's unanimous, incredible, incredulousness, whatever the fuck. Which you can't always trust because people did that for Cyberpunk, and in my opinion, Cyberpunk wasn't as exciting as everyone said it was. But Red Dead looks like it's actually exciting, something industry changing, something really, really exciting. So I can't wait to play that game. I know Nick can't. Pretty much everyone can't wait to play that game. And if you think it looks boring, eat a dick. There's some people on Twitter that are like, it's so boring.
I can't drive my car.
Yeah, I can't drive my car. The game looks good, okay? Don't be a party pooper. So anyway, we talked about Red Dead enough. Call of Cthulhu, the video game. I forget if I thought this looked cool or not. I think I did like this.
I like the style, but then I've seen some trailers for it. It's made by the developers. It's made by the developers of the Sherlock Holmes games, and I just kind of didn't really latch on when I saw the gameplay. But they had a really nice launch trailer when they announced it.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. Gal Metal, I wanted to mention this because this is being made by Tak Fuji. And if you don't know who Tak Fuji is, he is the extreme Konami guy. But he doesn't work for Konami anymore. Hopefully that game does well for him, because he's a nice guy, and he interacts with fans on Twitter, and I like him. It's like a rhythm game where you play as a gal metal band. It looked fun. But it's only on Switch, so I won't get it. That's about it for October. The rest of it's stupid crap.
Diablo 3 on Switch for the beginning of November. I haven't played Diablo 3, but I've had interest in it for a while. I don't know if I'd pick up that version of it, but who knows? Maybe it would be a version that I'd be like, all right, I could just take this on the road.
You want to get it on PC, Nick. You need the mouse.
Yeah, that's...
Got a gaming PC, doesn't use it for games. Next is Daracene, which I would like to play, but I don't have PSVR, so I probably won't get. But I'm excited for Daracene because I want to see From Software do something way different from Souls, and this looks like it's going to be that game. Mm-hmm. And it does look pretty interesting. So I'm excited to see how that reviews. I won't get to play it, but yeah, we'll see. Looks cool. I forget the concept behind the game. It's like you're a ghost or something. But yeah, it's cool because, Miyazaki's a cool guy. And he makes good games. That's all I have to say.
Overkill's The Walking Dead. I bring this up because I'm a big fan of Payday, and Overkill is the same developer of Payday. I haven't seen anything on this because, as I've talked about with Zombie U, I'm not really into zombies, so I don't think I'm going to pick this up.
Nick, they're freakers. I thought I said that. They're freakers. They're not zombies.
Even though it's Overkill, their games, I'm just going to be outright. I like them. They are not for everybody. They do not look very good. I could be wrong about, again, I'm basing this purely off of just the title, because I haven't seen anything on Overkill's The Walking Dead. But from some things I've heard from people, it's kind of overkill. It's a little buggy, it's a little ugly in parts, but it's for their style of 4-player cooperative shooter gameplay. So if you're a fan of that, I'm sure it's not going to be an awful game.
Tetris Effect, that's a really cool looking game. I've never played anything by, what's his name? Tetsuya Mizuguchi. He did, Rez, yeah. Rez and Rez Infinite, a few other games. That looks really fun. If I had a VR headset, I'd probably get it, but I don't. Hitman 2 is coming out on November 13th. Heard nothing but good things about Hitman 2 and the first one. I really want to try that. I've actually never played a Hitman game, but I own like 4 of them, I think. So I need to really try one of these.
Yeah, Hitman 2 sounds enticing. Part of the I watched a lot of the gameplay of the Hitman. Not, it's so weird. It's a weird naming convention. But the one before this most recent one, and the big kind of turnoff for me was that they were trying an episodic format, and I didn't really like that. I kind of wanted to have the game in my hands and be able to play it. But that's what they're doing with Hitman 2, and apparently from what I've heard, all of the Hitman 1 levels are in Hitman 2, so you pretty much get both games for this. So it's definitely going to be a one to look out for.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people, or at least some people say that got a chance to play it already. They said it's like probably the peak of the series in terms of level design, so I have to look into that more. I was going to read a preview the other day, and then I forgot about it, so I will have to do that and play the games.
Spyro Reignited Trilogy?
That looks cool. I don't really have any attachment to Spyro, though.
Same here. It looks like the Crash Insane Trilogy. I will probably end up picking it up at some point. It's not a launch game for me. If anything, it's like I'll wait for a price drop and get it later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks nice. Love the animation that they put into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played one PS2 Spyro game, but I forget what it was called. Yeah, I don't think it was Ripto's Rage, though. It was like Year of the Dragon, I think. But yeah, the graphical updates look amazing. They do a really nice job with that. I just hope that they don't screw up the platforming like they did with the Crash one. But not that the Crash one is unplayable, but it's kind of a shame that they messed that up because everything else is so nice looking. Mm-hmm. But
Fallout 76, we already talked about it, so we can pass that one up.
Pokemon, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. I think that's a remake of the first two or something.
It's a remake, but at the same time, from what I've heard, it's not like a core Pokemon game. So I think it's, to my knowledge, it's a blending of a Pokemon game and like Pokemon Go. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like a more casual version of a Pokemon.
It's already casual.
Yeah,
sad.
Even further casual.
Casual.
I probably wouldn't be getting it. I know a lot of people are excited about it, but it's not one I'm going to pick up.
Yeah, I don't really care too much about Pokemon. I know some people would lynch me for that, but I don't know. I haven't been into it for years. Battlefield 5. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yep, that's what the EA people have said.
Patrick Soderlund, who's not there anymore. He took the money and ran.
I'm interested in Battlefield 5. Played the beta. We have a video on the channel about it. I liked it for the most part of what I played, and I'll probably be getting it, but it's not a launch game for me. I'm going to wait a little bit.
There's Farming Simulator 19, which I guess those games are pretty popular because they keep making them.
They allow modding on consoles, I'm pretty sure, because that was a big thing when Fallout 4 was introducing their mods. It's like, yeah, Farming Simulator has like full mods on PS4, and it's like, oh, who would have guessed?
Yeah, maybe those are really cool. I don't know. Darksiders 3 is being released. I haven't heard too much about this. I forgot it was coming out this year, but
I don't think it's being advertised a whole lot, but I'm pretty excited. Again, it's kind of at a bad time because I will have just bought Red Dead and Fallout, so I don't really feel like I want to buy another full price game after those two. But I'm excited for Darksiders. I've liked the first and the second one, and from the little snippets I've seen of 3, it looks to be honestly even more fun because it seems like the character mobility is a lot better. Like you're allowed to do a lot more. So definitely a good one to look out for.
Yeah, I got the first 2 on PS Plus, I think like a month ago, but I haven't played them yet. So I think I'd like those because they're part of my favorite genre, which is well, I don't know what the genre is supposed to be called. It seems like it changes every day, but we'll say Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden, God of War, the hack and slash character action, crazy. Don't say that. You're a douche if you call it
Crazy
that.
action?
Yes, I've heard some people refer to it as crazy action. It's like, no. That's fucking stupid. Just call it action or stylish action or whatever.
Artifact.
That works. Oh, it's a Valve game. Yeah, we're making games again.
A Dota 2 card game?
No, Gabe, it wasn't worth the wait. It wasn't worth the wait. Make Half-Life 3 already or fuck off.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell by that, we're not getting Artifact.
Yeah, and another thing, stop being that company that's like, we have so much money, so you can just do whatever you want when you come to work. Like, no. If you want Half-Life 3 to be made, you just need to get people together and say, we're going to make Half-Life 3. No, you're going to work on it. I don't care if you want to hang out by the hipsters with the vending machine or whatever. You're going to make a game, because that's what you're here for. Because that's why Half-Life 3 has never been made. Valve just allows its employees to make whatever they want. So you can get like a team of 100 people that say we want to make Half-Life 3, and then they just have infinite development time, so nothing ever gets done. It seems like it'd be a really good thing to have like infinite creative time, but if you don't have deadlines, then you're just going to keep working on something forever and ever and ever. And that's why Half-Life 3 has never been made. So that's why they don't make jack shit, because they probably just sit around making artsy-fartsy projects that fall apart. So, but Gabe doesn't care, or Gabe or whoever doesn't care. I like Gabe. It's just, I don't think that's a good strategy for making games. You know, I guess they can do it because they have so much freaking money, but it'd be nice to actually have real games coming from Valve, because they used to be a really amazing developer. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, Gabe. You know, I still love you. I moved on to GOG. I like it more than Steam, sorry, but I still like you.
Just Cause 4.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't either.
I forget about this game.
I think the big thing that they're showing off with Just Cause 4 is a new weather system with like tornadoes and stuff like that. But boring. It doesn't look fun to me.
Yeah, I've never played a Just Cause game, but they don't look that good. Mutant Year Zero. I don't know if this is the game I was thinking about. There was one game with like cats or something. No, it's not. I don't know what this is.
We just opened up a link and it had a character with a duck face.
Yeah, I don't think that's the game I was looking at. I forget who's making the game I was thinking of. Whatever, who cares? It's probably not that good anyway. The Persona dancing games are coming out, which I've never played, but I think a lot of people are hyped for those. There's 3 games coming out. I don't know if they're all $60 titles, but I hope not, because that'd be kind of greedy.
Yeah.
But hopefully those...
Also be kind of weird to release 3 of them separately.
Hopefully those are good, I guess. I don't know much about Persona, but I do want to play one of those games. Either 4 or 5. I don't know which one yet, because I've owned 4 for years, but we'll see. The music's good in that series, though, from what I've listened to. Anyway, moving on to Smash Bash Ultimate, which is the big title
for December. I would like to get it. I don't know.
I would too. I don't have a Switch.
What the heck was that? Oh. Everything they show for it looks great. Probably gonna get it. Don't think I'm gonna get it at launch, but I would like to purchase and play it, because I do not own the Wii U version of Smash, so this will basically replace that.
Yeah. I'm interested to try it out, but I don't think I'm gonna cream my pants over it either. So yeah, we'll see.
Katamari Damacy on Switch.
Yeah, I guess they're re-releasing this. I think this is the first one in the series. I played Beautiful Katamari. I think I owned that for a while. I didn't like it. It's weird and not that fun. Earth Defense Force 5. I've never played.
The EDF deploys.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play this game or this series. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but I think it's something I would be into. So I'm glad that people seem excited for EDF 5 and that they can keep making those weird games. Next is Ow! I'm sorry. It's Judge Eyes. That was my cover of the theme song. I don't know the rest of it because it's in Japanese, but this game looks awesome. The thing I like most about Judge Eyes, and this is December 13th in Japan only, but it will come to the US in 2019. The thing I like most about this is that they're trying to do something different than Yakuza. And, well, it looks exactly like Yakuza. But they are trying something different. It does have brand new characters. It has a new gameplay style with detective stuff. It has a weird-ass combat style that I really, really like. And I'm just excited for this game. It looks awesome. Yeah, and I might buy it when it comes out in Japan. I don't know yet, though. But I love it. I can't wait. Can't wait.
And
Dragon Quest Builders 2. I thought this was already out. Maybe only in Japan.
That says a lot about that.
It's not even in the US yet. I didn't know that. I thought it was already out.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Dragon Quest Builders actually did really well in the West, which is awesome.
It's like a Minecraft style game, right?
Yeah, it's like a Minecraft clone, but it did pretty well, and I heard it was pretty good. So I might actually get that sometime. I might actually get Dragon Quest 11 this year for Christmas. I don't know. I'm still deciding. I want to get like 1 or 2 games for Christmas that I haven't gotten yet, and Dragon Quest might be one of those. I don't know.
So that's basically the end of the list. A lot of the big, heavy-hitting games. Interesting. We're getting a couple of them. Red Dead's gonna swamp them all. So
Yep.
not a whole lot to say in that regard. But
Sorry, Tiddles. Not gonna win Game of the Year this year.
Nope.
Or not you, God of War. Not you, Spoderman. You tried, but
that brings up an interesting topic. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of time left, but we should probably talk about the Game Awards maybe next week for the podcast because Jeff Keighley's obviously been flicking his nipples and teasing everybody about
Hideo Kojima,
all the surprises, and Hideo obviously. So
that came up fast. It felt like it was just yesterday we were watching Joseph Fares spaz out and stuff.
I hope he's back. That'd be great. I wonder if
he might be
a way out.
He might be an award presenter because I think Jeff asked on Twitter like who they wanted. I think he asked like who people wanted to see present awards, and someone said Tommy Wiseau and someone said Joseph Fares, which are pretty much the same person.
Yeah.
So I think we'll definitely see Joseph, whether that's him debuting a new game or just debuting an award or something. But better yet, it would be great if you could co-host with Jeff. I think that'd be a laugh riot.
I don't think Jeff would relinquish the power for that.
I don't think he'd do that, but it would be freaking hilarious.
We can talk about that more next week. You have any final thoughts for this podcast?
I don't think so. I actually don't know what to close with, really. I guess, well, actually, there's a lot of games I've been wanting to play recently, but I don't want to get too immersed in too many games. I don't want to do that in general, but also Red Dead's coming out, so I don't want to have a bunch of projects going on while I'm waiting for that game to come out.
I'm the same way. I'm putting some of the backlog stuff on the back burner because I know Red Dead's coming up and it's going to be a massive time sink. So
yeah, I'm definitely going to finish North Star. I'll finish a playthrough of Ninja Gaiden 2 because I'm almost done with that. I might try and finish Forgotten Sands. I don't think it's a very long game. It's like 7 hours. I think I'm like 4 hours in or something. So I can probably finish that. I did want to do some horror games because it is October, but at the same time I don't feel that bad about it because 2 months ago I played like all the Silent Hill games and I played all the Fatal Frame, or 3 of the Fatal Frame games. So I got my horror kick in this year already, so I don't feel that bad about it. Usually, like every year, October comes around and I miss playing horror games, but this year I kind of got it out of the way. I do want to play something, like I'd like to play Amnesia for the first time, or Alien Isolation. So we'll see. I might try to squeeze one in before the end, but if not, whatever. Red Dead's coming. It's alright. You can experience horror all year round, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's it. Looking forward to Red Dead 2.
Alrighty.
Looking forward to talking about that.
So, thanks for listening to this podcast. You can find our other episode that we've done and future episodes here on YouTube for now. And we hope you stick around and listen to some more. And I hope you enjoyed it. So, we'll see you in the next podcast.
Yep, I don't know when that's going to be. It might be next week. Maybe not.
Yep. Alright. See you guys.
Take care. Shit.